So thank you so much for coming out today. And over the last few weeks, I appreciate the support of all of you here in this room. I know many of you have already been out to advanced polls. I know that many of you have been putting up signs for us, talking to your friends and neighbors, knocking on doors with us. We have talked to, she's okay, she's excited. We've talked to thousands of people across this riding, and the message is clear. They are, our friends and neighbors are very much concerned about the direction that this country is heading. And I'm so proud of the support that I've received from the Conservative caucus. I'm so proud to have had, ministers and super strong members of caucus here to talk with people on the doorstep, to talk to small and medium-sized business owners about the issues that are affecting them. And today I'm so proud to have our leader here with us. You look at the representation that the Liberals put forward as the head of their party. You look who they chose to put forward to be the Prime Minister. Someone who's never had to work a day in his life. Someone who's never had to worry about making it past payday. Never had to worry about anything more than making sure that trust fund payment appeared in his bank account every Friday. The Conservative Party of Canada has a strong leader. Has a leader who's worked in small businesses. Has a leader who's more minivan than Bay Street for sure. I'm pretty sure we have the same model of minivan, and I'm tremendously excited to have a leader who understands Canadians. Who I see Andrew Scheer in the faces of everyone in this room and across our riding. And ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege and it's an honor to introduce to you the next Prime Minister of Canada.
Thank you so much, everyone. I just want to acknowledge we've got some, it's so great to see a room full of excited, dynamic Conservative supporters. There are a few people in the room I just want to single out because they've been out with us today. I saw him earlier. I think the provincial member of Parliament here, Steve Clark, is here. Steve and the team in the provincial party are undoing the damage that Kathleen Wynne did to this province, and we wish you all the best as you get Ontario back. It's always frustrating when the Conservatives were in power federally because we'd lower a tax or we'd eliminate a regulation, and then the Liberals in Ontario would just put those taxes right back up or put those regulations in back up. That was always so frustrating. My colleague in the House of Commons, Scott Reid, neighboring riding, is here. And the previous MPP for this area and Senator in our Conservative caucus, Bob Rudson. This is the final sprint to the finish. Monday is election day, and by-elections are usually seen as referendums on the government. Now, I'm going to ask you to think about what you might be considering whether or not a government has been succeeding or failing on behalf of Canadians. And I think I know what the general sentiment in this room is. But I also get the feeling that it's not just the people in this room, it's not just people wearing buttons or putting up signs, it's our friends and neighbors in the community. A year and a half ago when I became leader of the party, I would meet people in airports as I was traveling across the country. I'd see people in restaurants and events, and they'd come up to me and they'd say, "Hey, you're the new leader of the Conservative Party, right?" And I'd say, "Yeah." And they'd say, "Well, good luck, we're rooting for you." Now, a year and a half later, I'm getting stopped. People are squeezing my arm, and they're saying, "Andrew, you have to win." You know, we have a prime minister, we have Justin Trudeau, who promised Canadians. He went around in the last election and he promised each and every one of you that he would balance the budget in his last year in office. Well, 2019 is just around the corner. We've only got a few weeks left. This year, that deficit is $19 billion.
And he'll blame Harper.
And he might try. On this one, it's all him though. Conservatives left Justin Trudeau a balanced budget. We actually left him a surplus, and he has squandered that. He's blown through that. He inherited great fortune, a rising world economy that was lifting Canada up. And he said he would spend some money on infrastructure, short-term, temporary, teeny-tiny deficits, and get back to balanced budgets. Well, the spending hasn't gone to help Canadians get ahead. He's spending money. He's spending lots of money. He's blown through that surplus and $20 billion more, and we still have these massive deficits. He inherited a situation where Canada had a vibrant energy sector, where there were 3 proposed pipelines on the books. One that would get our products, our energy, to Western deepwater ports to open up new markets in Asia. And one that would bring Western Canadian energy to Eastern Canada. He killed those 2 pipelines, Northern Gateway and the Energy East. And the third, Trans Mountain, he bought it, he can't build it. He sent $4.5 billion of your tax dollars to American investors in Houston to build pipelines that compete with us. And it drives me crazy. I am so sick and tired of this government being unable to get big projects built in this country to put people back to work. But it's no secret, because he travels around the world telling his friends on the international circuit he's going to phase out Canada's energy sector. That's not just bad for Alberta, Saskatchewan. It's bad for Ontario. It's bad for the consumers who are filling up their cars with foreign oil. You know, I see all kinds of protesters, and I see the government members talking about stopping projects that would get Canadian products to market. But I don't see them lining up and down the St. Lawrence, blocking tanker after tanker of foreign oil coming into this country. And a conservative government will have a national vision for this country that gets us off of foreign oil and gets workers back on the job here in Canada. Box on Monday, as we're thinking about passing judgment on this Liberal government, let's ask ourselves a question. Does a carbon tax help the average family get ahead at the end of every month? No! Does a carbon tax help keep jobs in the automotive sector? No! Does the carbon tax help attract investments that will put people back to work and help families get ahead? No! So you remember that on Monday. A Conservative government job number 1, first piece of legislation that I will introduce as Prime Minister will be called an act to repeal the carbon tax. We found out this week the true cost of Justin Trudeau's failure to fix the crisis at our borders. Yeah. It's big.
This is scary stuff.
Let's remember how that started. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't resist it. You know, a year and a half ago, last January 2017, he sent out that famous tweet, "All are welcome." Well, they're coming. They're coming over the border illegally. They're coming over the border, crossing illegally into our country. Now, we've known what that does to people waiting to come to Canada the right way. Canada has always been a country that has welcomed people from all over the world who want to embrace the fundamental freedoms that have made our society so great. And we welcome them. They add to our communities, just like my ancestors did decades ago. And all we ask of those who want to come to Canada is to come to Canada legally. And what we're finding out is that those people who are trying to come to Canada the right way have to wait even longer as more and more resources go to process people coming in illegally. That is Justin Trudeau's failure. And this week, we found out the cost over $1 billion of your tax dollars going to manage this mess. And still, not a single proposal to stop it. A Conservative government will ensure the integrity of our borders so that Canadians can have confidence in our immigration system and the billions of dollars of costs won't be passed on to taxpayers in this country. Today, you might have seen on the news, Justin Trudeau, when he was sitting down across the... We know Justin Trudeau wasn't a great negotiator. When he had to negotiate with those Kinder Morgan investors who all they wanted, they didn't want a dollar from the government. They just wanted certainty to get their project built. They were willing to pay for that pipeline themselves. And Justin Trudeau got really tough with them. He sat down across the table, and he took out a checkbook that you all paid for, and he wrote a big fat check for $4.5 billion. He said, you want to build a pipeline with your own money in my country? Well, take this $4.5 billion and go build a pipeline in another country. That's how tough Justin Trudeau was with the Kinder Morgan. So it's no wonder that when it came to negotiating with Donald Trump, all we saw was concession after concession after concession with nothing to show for it in return. Canada, under Justin Trudeau, counted everything under NAFTA. Everything we counted as victories were things we already had that we didn't have to give up. While the Americans were counting their victories with all the gains that they got. And there's one last little piece of leverage that Justin Trudeau was holding out on Donald Trump to try to get the steel and aluminum tariffs lifted. You know what that was? A few weeks ago, his government said that Justin Trudeau won't have his picture taken in a photo op with Donald Trump until those steel and aluminum tariffs. Well, I think Trump called his bluff. I think Trump knew that Trudeau could not pass up a photo op. Because today they sat down, they had a big lavish signing ceremony, and steel and aluminum tariffs are still in place, hurting job creators right here in Canada. That is the legacy of failure on Justin Trudeau. So Monday, all of you have an opportunity in this riding to send that message to this Liberal government that their time is running out. We've got 11 months before the next election, but we can send a signal on Monday. All of you getting out to the doors, getting your friends and neighbors, making sure they vote, so that Michael Barrett can join the Conservative caucus to be that loud and proud voice for this community in Ottawa. So I'm asking all of you to pull together, to do that sprint to the finish. On a seulement quelques jours qui restent avant de lundi, où on va avoir l'opportunité de passer le jugement sur Justin Trudeau. We only have a few days left before we can do that. And all of us working together on Monday. We're going to have some people in caucus, we're going to have people working the phones, we're going to supporting you from National Party headquarters, but we're going to need you on the ground to give it that last push to the sprint to the finish. And then, 10 months from now, Michael, as the elected MP, joining all of us and all the ridings across Canada, working together, will make sure that Justin Trudeau is a one-term Prime Minister.